As you've probably heard by now, slanderous charges have been leveled against the totally amazingly awesome education that American kids get here at the hands of experienced, caring, and strikingly competent union teachers in America's public schools. Joining me now to refute these horrific, biased, totally unfair, and frankly not very nice comparisons to foreign countries and their mean, unloving educational systems are valedictorian nerd Scott Ott and big man on campus Steve Green. Welcome, fellas. Guys, let's take a look at the extremely marginal effects gained by these foreign, uncaring tyrants in math, let's say. Here is how Japanese students are doing in math.
By the time they're 12, these whiz kids are fast becoming human calculators.
Yeah, okay, fine. So they're doing long division to 9 digits using simple beads on a wire. But take a look at this.
Along with the other high flyers, he can now do huge calculations with a purely imaginary abacus, manipulating nothing but thin air. Children like this show us that with enough practice, super-fast mental calculation is possible.
Hi.
Hi. Come here, mate.
Yeah, okay, sure, yeah. You know, these kids have gotten so much practice at the expense of precious socializing and networking time on Facebook, I might add, that they can actually do advanced calculations in virtually real time without, you know, an actual abacus. Sure, they can, you know, store in their imaginations the various positions of abacus beads and manipulate them using only their minds to produce enormously complex results instantaneously. But that's the foreign method. Here in the USA, we have a program called A Million Ways to Teach. And while Japanese kids are learning advanced math skills, their American counterparts with 999,999 better ways to teach are learning about physics. Take a look. The kite flies because of physics.
No, Ralph. This means you're failing English.
Me fail English? That's impossible.
Okay, lads, enough of this dog and pony show. I can't keep this up any longer without weeping. Scott, which do you think will be more useful in today's information age? Kids who have a profound mastery of mathematics, or kids who feel happy watching a teacher make a kite?
Well, yeah, I was going to point that out to you. Those kids with the kites, they look very happy compared to those kids who had mere competence. And I think that that's what you don't understand about this whole idea.
Yeah.
Is that the sense of fulfillment within you doesn't come from your ability to perform complicated tasks in a successful manner that are beyond other people's skills. Your sense of fulfillment comes from the idea that really nothing is too simple for you, and if we can only make it into some sort of a game or a toy, then you will feel very special. Bill, you just got this all wrong.
No, that obviously. Steve, you went to school. You know why a kite flies, right? It's because of physics. Don't you find it interesting that of all of the million ways to teach, they didn't pick sitting the kids in a classroom, putting physics equations on a blackboard, and then solving them? I have a kite.
The first thing I thought of when I saw the Japanese kids with their abacus, when that kid's a grown-up, do you want to be sitting across a negotiating table from that kid as a grown-up? He is going to own you.
I'll be getting him his coffee.
But, well, yeah, if you're lucky.
That's right.
My oldest is 6 years old. He's a bright kid. He's just finishing up kindergarten, getting ready for first grade in the fall. And he's at that age, Scott knows about this, where he starts asking the tough, very specific, real-world questions. The one that got me last week, we were out driving in the hail. And so he asked me, how does hail happen? And I really had to dig deep in my memory to dig that one up. I think maybe I'd asked my dad, but I managed it, and I gave him the facts as clearly as I could for a 6-year-old. And I knew he got it. He got it when he gave me an example back. So this is a 6-year-old who now understands the basic of how rain becomes hail. And if I had told him, son, it happens because of weather, he'd have thought I was an idiot. And I
could
would
make
have been an
physics
idiot
sing.
or a useless public educator. But, you know,
That's
I
right.
repeat myself.
Yeah, it says on the ad, you can make physics sing, you can make math dance. Scott, we mock this because we conservatives appreciate the value of rigor and hard work. Those Japanese kids sure seem to have gotten something out of rigor and hard work. Is the best answer to the remarkable lack of rigor and hard work in the classrooms of America to take kids out into the fields and fly a kite? The kite flies because of physics.
Well, look, there is a place for experimentation that demonstrates the applicability of the principles that you have learned in the classroom. And certainly Benjamin Franklin was a great illustration of that. But there also is the rigor. There are the underlying principles and the theorems that go into establishing these things. And one of the things that apparently the American educational establishment hasn't figured out yet is that young children are literalists, and they learn best through rote memorization. They learn best through repetition. It's only when you get up to around 6th, 7th, 8th grade when you start to develop the ability to analogize and metaphorize and all that kind of stuff. And so the best thing we can do with these little kids is to drill them.
There you go. Remember your mathematic tables? I do. I remember having to learn them. It ruined a summer for me. Now I can do 6 8s in my head. 6 times 8, 48. I can do that. You know, Steve, when we landed men on the moon low a half-century ago, the men in the capsules and on the launch pads and in the control rooms had the same kind of math skills that these Japanese kids have. There's a big lag on dumb in a culture, and I think we're near the end of that string, and I know that because of physics.
Yeah, Bill, we look at these Japanese kids or the Chinese kids or French kids or whatever with their great test scores, and we marvel at how well they do. It's obvious to me that race means nothing, that culture and nurturing and method mean everything.
Yep.
And I know we can do that here, but it doesn't really matter where kids learn or what color they are. What matters is, can we lure them here? Can we lure the best and the brightest here? Do we have the free dynamic economy, the streets paved with gold, to take the best and the brightest away from those other countries and make them into free, prosperous Americans? And right now, Bill, the answer to that is a big, fat no. And that might be an even bigger problem than our schools. And I know this because of politics.
And what about making American kids the best and the brightest in the world? Then we can export them someplace else too, you know? I mean, I just don't understand it. You know, folks, I kid. I kid because I love. No, I'm kidding. I kid because I'm scared physics-less. I took physics. You start with kinetics, the properties of motion, kinetic energy, vector analysis. Then you move into dynamics, which is energies and forces. Then you move into the places where the truth hides. I got about as much physics as a reasonably well-educated person would need in order to cast a reasonably intelligent vote. Now, I can explain Bernoulli's principle to that poor kid, but I need a whiteboard, a marker, and 30 minutes of concentration. I'm not going to get that half hour in American public schools today. I would have in the past, you know. But because now there are a million ways to teach instead of the right way. For PJTV, I'm Bill Whittle.